Hi guys, and welcome back to a brand new piercing FAQ video. Now in this one I'm going to be talking about something that severely triggers me. Like every time I hear about these and every time I see them whatever, like it sends severe shivers down my spine and I'm just like, why is this still a thing? And that is piercing guns. So in this video I'm going to be like going through some reasons why you should never use piercing guns, you should stay away from them, and if anyone ever says to you, let's use a piercing gun, punch them in the face. So for the first point, hygiene. When you go to one of these stores that are like Claire's Accessories or like one of those like stupid little stores that are in like the middle of like a shopping center or like a shopping mall or something, and it's like cheap piercings here, and they use like piercing guns, the amount of people that go through them, and that piercing gun is going to be in contact with all these bodily fluids that come out of their ears. It could be like blood, and realistically they don't really get sterilized. You can't sterilize them, they don't get properly cleaned, and you're going to have the same contact with someone else's blood, with someone else's like ooze and stuff that comes out of their ears or whatever. So you are practically sharing germs with all of these people. All of their bacteria is going onto you, especially if you're like the last of the day. You think of all these people that have gone there during the daytime and you're like the last one or whatever, and the amount of people that is touched, and now it's touching you. Like people are going to be like, oh well, it's not the gun that touched you, it's the bar itself. No, that gun touches you. And like especially if you bleed, that is going to go onto the gun itself, and like just having a wipe round with an alcohol wipe is not good enough cleaning. Also, like I've seen videos where people have got their piercings done with like guns and stuff, and it gets stuck and like it's closed on their ear, and if that's got any kind of dirt, you're dealing with a fresh wound, like a fresh wound that you have just created in your ear, and all that germs are going to go into your ear and infect you, and you can get like pus, and like it will go like gross and like scabby, and like keloids will grow, and it's just a bad idea. Like it's so unhygienic, it's so disgusting. You cannot clean piercing guns. Now my second point is probably one of the main points why I hate piercing guns so much, and that's shattered cartilage. So if you go to like a piercing studio where they're using a hollow needle, so a hollow needle basically goes through your ear, removes a piece of tissue, and then the piercing will sit into the tissue, like into the hole where it's been created. But when you use like a piercing gun, all that's happening is the butterfly clip piercing bar thing just gets shoved through your ear without any consideration about what's there already. Basically it's like you're just forcing a piece of metal into a place where there's no space. Like there's no space. It's like trying to cram yourself into a car. Like it's not helpful, and there's no space. Like it's that kind of thing. What happens is your cartilage can smash, and it almost looks like a piece of like shattered glass, but that is what like your cartilage looks like. So it cannot heal properly. Like you have more chance of infections, more chance of like just everything just going wrong. It won't heal properly. If you take your piercing out, you're more likely to be left with quite a gross scar there because your cartilage is so damaged like around the piercing itself. At least with a hollow needle, you're removing the piece of tissue, so your piercing has space to sit in your ear. But with a piercing, like a piercing gun, all you're doing is just ripping your ear open, and then like the piece of metal goes through, like without any consideration about what's there. You're shoving a piece of metal where it shouldn't be. Especially if you get things like your nose. I've seen a video on YouTube of a woman getting her nose pierced with a piercing gun, and it clamps down on her nose, and it gets stuck, and literally the gun is like stuck closed, and it can't open, and it's bleeding, and it just looks disgusting, and it's so painful. And it's just gross, like don't do it. I'd rather spend a little bit more extra money to have like a professional piercing done and have my ear healthy, rather than having a load of shattered cartilage all over my ear, where like if I take them out in the future, my ear's gonna look really mangled because I've had so many gross like bad earrings. Now going on the theme of shattered cartilage, swelling. So if you get your piercing done in a real piercing studio, they will use like a labret bar or a thin bar that looks like a flat on one side and a ball on the other, and the bar is relatively long to accommodate swelling, because when you pierce cartilage, there is a chance that your ear will swell. Not so much in your earlobes, although it can happen, but the majority of time it's mainly cartilage that will swell. And so if your ear does swell, the bar's quite long, so it has like accommodates for the swelling. However, if you use a piercing gun and use those horrendous studs with the butterfly clips on the back, there is no room for swelling. You will go through your ear, and if your ear swells, your ear is basically screwed. There's nowhere for your ear to swell, and there's a massive chance that your ear can grow over the metal bar, the butterfly clip or the stud at the front. Like it can grow over it and engulf like the piercing inside your ear. You will require surgery, in other words, to get that out, and it's just I've seen this happen to someone before, and it's so gross. Like it looks like a big, like it just looks like a big ball on the ear. Like it's just disgusting. Now for the fourth one, it's not as serious as most of them, but placement. Now it is really difficult to get like your earrings perfectly symmetrical if you are using piercing guns. When you use like a needle, the piercer will generally put like a little blue dot on your skin, and then like I say, like you can look where it is, make sure it's even, and then the needle will touch directly onto the point that they've just made in your ear. However, with a piercing gun, there's not really like a real way to actually measure where they're going to go, because with a piercing gun, there's obviously about that much space between you and the piercing itself. So when the gun goes down, it's really hard to line it up perfectly actually where it's gonna go. So it's actually really difficult to get your piercings like positioned perfectly in order to get them like symmetrical. Like it just doesn't really happen. And for my final point, training. Realistically, all these people that work in like Claire's Accessories and all those other little piercing studios that'll say cheap piercings here, and like the stores in the middle of the Walmarts and the stores in the middle of the shopping centers and everything, like they are not properly trained to pierce ears. Realistically, they're just people who just need a quick job, and they're like, oh, I can do this, it's easy. They get a tiny bit of like coaching, like this is what you do, close it, done. Like wham bam, thank you ma'am. Like that's literally all they'll get. Now, I remember when I first got my ear done, I got my earlobe done here. It was the first ever one I got when I was a kid, and it was done with a piercing gun. There was no information about what to do. There was no information about really how to look after it. It was just like, keep it clean and don't change it for 6 months. And like, literally, it's so easy. Just use a piercing gun. There's no training whatsoever. Again, you're making an open wound in your body, and you're trusting someone who doesn't have a clue realistically about piercings. And you're just like, yeah, you can pierce my ear, put a hole in my ear, we're fine. Like, no. Like, why are you doing that to yourself? Have more respect for your body. Especially what I hate more than anything is when adults get their baby's ears pierced. Like, why are you doing that to a child? Especially with the piercing guns. Like, it's so damaging, and you're doing that to a child. Like, what? No. It makes it up. No. So I hope you enjoyed this little informational video about piercing guns and why you shouldn't use them. Please don't use them, guys. Please go to a professional piercer, whether you use proper needles, or use proper sterilized bars, use proper sterilization of everything, and it's just perfectly done the right way. Do not use piercing guns. Like, it's just so bad for you. It's so bad for you. Anyway, if you are new to my channel, please make sure you do subscribe, because I do videos every single week, not just about piercing stuff, but about my life and LGBT things and lots of fun, everything fabulous. Also, hit that like button because it does really help me out, and I'll see you all very soon for a fabulous new video. Bye!